What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the JRPG Report. This is episode 223. My name is Dalton Suter, and let's get into the news. Now, I will say, first and foremost, not a whole lot this week, but I scrounged together what I could to hopefully make a semi-interesting episode for you all. And also, at the end of the episode, I have a special announcement for this week's Sunday special that longtime listeners, I think, will be very excited for. So stick around and let's get into some news. First up, we have publisher East Asia Soft has released a new trailer and screenshots for the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 versions of action RPG Sword and Fairy Together Forever. One of the biggest advancements in the Sword and Fairy Together Forever is its shift to fluid real-time combat rather than turn-based mechanics of its predecessor. Enemies are visible on the field, allowing players to attack or attempt to avoid battles. Once engaged, combat is fast and frantic as players unleash combos and grow lengthier and more powerful as characters level up. Each party member possesses unique skills that make them indispensable, and an element can be assigned to further customize and balance team composition. The player can also swap between characters that they are actively controlling, allowing for complete control of the battlefield in any situation. Epic boss battles require quick thinking, strategy, and feature quick-time events that will allow players to inflict bonus damage in cinematic style, while precise evasion slows time temporarily and leaves the enemy open to your counterattacks. Interwoven with intuitive controls, all of these mechanics represent a massive leap forward for Sword and Fairy Together Forever that make it the perfect jumping-on point as the series enters a new era of action RPG combat. Sword and Fairy Together Forever is due out for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on August 4th. The PC version, simply titled Sword and Fairy 7, first launched via Steam on October 21st, 2021. Now, if I'm correct, this is a CRPG, a Chinese role-playing game, but I argue that it is just as good as the JRPGs. I have some friends that have played the Sword and Fairy series, and they adore it. I own one of them. I just haven't gotten to it yet with the massive backlog, but I beg of you, check this out. If it looks cool to you, definitely give it a shot, because I'm looking at these screenshots and my goodness, this game is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's go ahead and get some of the bad news for all of you out of the way. Sabotage Studio has delayed the turn-based RPG Sea of Stars from its previous planned holiday 2022 release to 2023. The game will be available for Switch, PC via Steam, and additional platforms and storefronts have still yet to be announced. A word from the team about this delay. As we are closing in on a very big milestone, the road to launch becomes clearer. We find ourselves here with a large body of text and our logos at the bottom, keeping in mind our two main priorities, quality of life for our team and quality of the finished game. We can now confirm that Sea of Stars will be released in 2023. We understand waiting is a big ask, and we want to sincerely thank our community for the overwhelming support and positive vibes. In the meantime, we are looking at options to get a playable slice out to everyone this year. All the love, Sabo Team. So, we'll have to wait a little bit longer for Sea of Stars, but honestly, like, if they're doing quality of life stuff and that's what gets it delayed, by all means, take all the time you need. You know what I'm saying? Like, just take your time. We don't mind. Just release a really good product. And this is coming from a Bethesda fan. Believe me, I know. Take the time you need to make it not buggy and everything. Just, yeah. So for those of you who have eyed Phantasy Star Online 2, but you were on PS4 and you're like, man, I haven't got a chance to play this yet, Sega will release Phantasy Star Online 2 and Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis for PlayStation 4 on August 31st in the West. So if you have been trying to get your hands on that, now you can. And if you don't know, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis is the new online action RPG game by Sega. Set after 1,000 years after the events of Phantasy Star Online 2, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis takes place on Halpha, a planet on which Arcs, soldiers of the Oracle Colony Fleet in Phantasy Star Online 2 series, are locked into battle for dominance against the mysterious dolls. If that sounds intriguing to you, I highly recommend you check this out when this comes out August 31st. Up next, we have some quick news. From Digimon Survive, there was a new gameplay trailer, and it shows how the affinity and conversation elements in the game work. This is essentially a visual novel and a tactical game rolled into one. However, the choices you make will also affect how the battles go. The Digimon Survive gameplay trailer begins by showing off the conversation choices and how those can alter affinity or karma. In one segment, Takuma encounters Fangmon. He's wondering if they are going to die. He has 3 options to choose from there. He can stand up, shout, or offer encouragement. The segment shows him choosing to stand up, which influences morale. And in another section, Takuma is talking with Aoi, and the two are working out what route to take. By checking with her, the affinity between 2 of them goes up to improve their relationship. And in another segment, it shows how conversations in battle can affect the situation in Digimon Survive. If you talk with an ally, it can do things like increase movement speed and boost their stats. It also offers a peek at Eteamon conversation. Takuma has 4 possible responses. Choosing yes, pretty please allows him to make Eteamon his friend or get items from his characters. So that sounds like almost like a simplified version of Shin Megami Tensei's chatting with demons type system. I'm looking forward to it. Not too much longer of a wait. Digimon Survive will come out on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC July 29th, 2022. So Square Enix has suspended the Final Fantasy XIV data center travel feature immediately after launch due to congestion. The company noted that after it arrived with update 6.18, visit requests were at 15,000 per minute. As such, it is temporarily disallowing the option. Final Fantasy XIV data center congestion issues kicked off almost immediately after the feature became available. Early on July 5th, 2022, Square Enix alerted people to the problems and also took to Twitter to explain what people could expect while the services was still live. It was noted that any world ends up billed as congested, then no one will be able to visit it. The Final Fantasy XIV issues also led to an update on the Japanese, North American, and European worlds. At the time of writing, Balmung on Crystal was congested in North America. In Europe, Louisoix and Spriggan on Chaos, and Phoenix and Zodiac on Light wouldn't allow new creation. In Japan, Tonberry, Typhon, Bahamut, Durandal, Rydell, Ixion, Masamune, Pandemonium, Mandragora, Shinryu, Unicorn, and Zeramus were all labeled as congested. My goodness. Final Fantasy XIV is available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC. Hopefully they get that sorted out, because that's a lot of people. That's a lot of 15,000 per minute. That's a lot of people. So let me ask you this. Do you have a VR rig? Have you ever wanted to experience a JRPG firsthand through your very own eyes in first person? Then Ruins Magus is the game for you. Developed by Character Bank and published by Mastiff, this anime-inspired virtual reality game is brought to life through endlessly immersive VR mechanics and responsive controls tuned perfectly for the intense action RPG gameplay. An engrossing narrative, heartwarming musical score, challenging dungeons, and the acclaimed Japanese voice actors make Ruins Magus the breakthrough VR title of 2022. Here's a story overview for you. In Ruins Magus, you'll take on the role of a novice in the magical arts who's sent to investigate the abandoned ruins below the prosperous town of Grand Omnis. The town's wealth depends largely on artifacts hidden deep within the ruins, protected by powerful guardians. Faced with the daunting challenge, you must answer the question that haunts each and every one of your fellow citizens. What mysteries lurk beneath the gilded streets of Grand Amnis? As a member of the renowned Ruin Magus Guild, your goal was to help strengthen it with magic, resources, and wisdom as you fulfill more than 25 unique, story-driven quests. Face off against guardians tasked with protecting the ruins from intruders, and solve deadly puzzles to advance the story. When you've successfully completed a quest, head to the surface to acquire new items and upgrades your equipment in town. If you want to live another day, that is. And some key features: explore and fight, cast and blink your way through a stunning VR fantasy world. There are more than 25 story-driven quests for you to challenge your skills. You can unleash 16 types of magic from the palm of your hand, raise your shield with your non-casting hand, and block enemy attacks. And there will be immersive VR mechanics that will bring your character to life. And that's going to be coming out for the Steam VR and Quest on July 7th for $34.99. So if that is something that sounds cool to you, I know it sounds cool to me. I wish I had a VR machine. First-person JRPG in VR? Yes, please. So Bandai Namco has shared a One Piece dev diary One Piece Odyssey dev diary, starring producer Katsuake Tsuzuki. This time, the focus is to go over its development. He mentioned things like how it's let's travel to the heart of memories. Messaging is critical to the game and the concept. All of this goes on while new One Piece Odyssey gameplay footage appears. Things begin with Sasuke discussing the initial reception to the announcement, and after that he mentions the development began 5 years ago when One Piece Warriors 4 was being promoted. Once the framework was set, Oda was asked to contribute character designs. Oda's message noted that he consulted and provided art for about 3 years ago. Tsuge also noted scenario production began during the manga's Whole Cake Island arc. I did retweet this, so if you are interested in watching the dev diary, it will be up on the JRPG Report Twitter. And the One Piece Odyssey will be coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC sometime in 2022. All right, action RPG Valkyrie Elysium will launch for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on September 29th, followed by a PC via Steam release on November 11th. The standard edition will be $59.99 on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. The digital deluxe edition will be priced at $74.99 and includes the Valkyrie equipment Sfjaltir, the Sword of the Goddess of the Underworld, and the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 versions of Valkyrie Profile Lenneth. On PC, the digital deluxe edition is priced $64.99 and includes Valkyrie equipment Sfjaltir, the Sword of the Goddess of the Underworld. PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 versions of Valkyrie Profile Lenneth are ported from the PSP version, which include a new features Rewind, Quick Save, and Visual presets. It will also be available separately via the PlayStation Store as well. In Japan, the standard edition of Valkyrie Elysium will cost about 8,580 yen, and the digital deluxe edition will be about 10,780 yen. A Square Enix eStore exclusive collector's edition will also be available for almost 20,000 yen, which includes a copy of the game for PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, Valkyrie Profile Lenneth download code, the Art of Valkyrie Elysium art book, Valkyrie Elysium Japanese script, original mini soundtrack, and acrylic cards of the Valkyrie and mysterious black armored character. My goodness, that sounds awesome. So yeah, definitely keep your ears and eyes out for this. It will be coming out September 29th and November 11th. So it'll be, PlayStation and PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 get it first. Then it's going to be the PC. So I'll have to wait a little longer. But man, this game's looking sweet. It's looking sweet. And I also retweeted this. If you would like to go check out any of these trailers that are in this article, by all means, check out our Twitter over at JRPG Report. So this one I'm only mentioning because I just recently played this for the Steam Machine podcast, and it was such a good game, and I consider it an action RPG, like an action JRPG all the way. But Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2 are going to be returning to Game Pass. And as a reminder, they left Game Pass back in December of 2021, but for some reason, now a few months later, they've added them back in. So these games will be heading there in July for Game Pass. So keep your eyes out for that. If you're into wacky action and fun with a really hard-hitting story, play Yakuza 0. For goodness sake. You just got to trust me. It's so good. It's so good. And speaking of the Yakuza series, I would like to give a shout out to RGG Studios on Twitter because RGG Studio has hit 100,000 followers. So that's pretty chill, man. Good for them. I am happy for those guys. And the last two articles that we have, probably the bigger news for me. Well, one's bigger news for me. One was big news for probably everyone else. But we'll see. Square Enix has revealed that Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin Trials of the Dragon King expansion will release on July 20th, 2022. It is the first of 3 additional missions coming to the game. To help provide an idea of what to expect, they have released a teaser trailer and official art. And you can find that on @FFOrigin on Twitter. And it is looking pretty sweet. I haven't played this game yet. It's on my, I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't super excited for Stranger of Paradise, but I saw some gameplay of it and it looks fun. So it's one of those games that I'm not super going out of my way to play it, but I would definitely give it a play if it were on, say, Game Pass or something like that. And while it's taken some time for these additional add-ons to appear, other updates appeared ahead of them. For example, patches added new features, One brought an auto dismantle feature to the game, and another added a battle simulator. And if you want to check this out, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is available for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. And like I said, the expansion will be appearing on July 20th, 2022. Now, here's the news that made my heart sing. I probably won't make this the cover story, even though I think it deserves it. But Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher is coming to the West. Yes. Publisher Bandai Namco and developer Koei Tecmo will release monster raising simulation game Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher for Switch via Nintendo eShop in 2022 in the West. In Japan and Asia, Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher is due out both physically and digitally in 2022, and the Asian version will include English language support. But here's an overview of the game. Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher is a brand new collaboration between Ultraman, a famous Japanese tokusatsu work. Oh, I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry. And Monster Rancher, a popular role-playing simulation series. This new game will introduce the iconic Ultra Kaiju, such as Alien Baltan, Zetan, and Gamora, to the popular gameplay mechanics of raising and battling monsters from the Monster Rancher series. You're going to get to summon your kaiju by searching the digital CD database or scanning NFC-compatible cards and more. Explain and train to unleash the full strength of your Ultra Kaiju. Players can enjoy unique and cute movements of Ultra Kaiju that are not usually seen in the original Ultraman series. You can compete in tournaments to test your skills and combine Ultra Kaijus to unlock new variations, including a Zetan pattern Gamora. Over 200 types of Kaiju will be waiting to be discovered. So, if this sounds up your alley, I know it's up my alley. You know what I mean? It's another style of, I'll say, a Pokemon-esque game, but it's also way different than that. It's a monster raiser, but it's so much fun. And I'm excited that they're bringing this over here. When I first saw this, I think I was having a conversation with Kalarian in the Discord that it was super Japanese and probably wouldn't translate well over here. But the fact that it is going to come out over here makes me happy, because now I hope that barrier of something being too Japanese to come out in America, I hope that's just like, do away with that, man. We want the goods. Just give us the goods. You know what I'm saying? All right. That honestly, that's all we had for the news this week. I know it wasn't a lot, but I did want to get something out for each and every one of you, because there wasn't enough for me to say, all right, we have a whole full episode, but there also wasn't not enough for me to call it off for this week, if that makes sense. So hopefully this was all right. And I will say, like I said, I had a surprise for you at the end. This weekend, if all goes as planned, I will be recording a Sunday special with our buddy James. So we'll get to check in on him and see how he's been doing, since he has graciously handed the torch over to me and moved on from the show. And we'll be talking some JRPGs and probably just life in general. You know, me and him haven't had a chance to chat in a while, so you're going to get to hear all of that. We're going to sidebar, and then we're going to sidebar again. And that's just how we roll, you know. But I think you will all be entertained, and that should be real fun. I also am setting up, I'm going to try to set up some Sunday specials in the future. We're chatting with some people from the Discord, maybe even do roundtable discussions about something. They could be really fun. And if you would like to join that Discord, well, that's easy. If you support the show, I asked the patrons what they wanted, and they said they wanted a Discord. So if you would kindly go to patreon.com/thejrpg report. If you donate $2, it's only $2. You help me keep the lights on literally in my house, and I appreciate that. And you can donate more than that if you'd like, but I know times are tough right now. So if you can't afford it, don't scrape to send me. I can get by. But if you have extra cash, I would greatly appreciate the support, and it really helps keep the show going because it helps me keep my power on. And you will get your name read at the end of the episode, much like these wonderful people: Kim C, Jake W, Jordan K, Tara, Kularian, Taylor F, Luke C, and Master Loot. Thank you all very much for supporting the show, and thank you all for listening. If you would like to find us on social media, it's facebook.com/thejrpg report. Or excuse me, facebook.com/JRPG report. I always put a V in front of it. On Twitter @JRPG report. And if you would like to hear more of me talking into a microphone, then you can check out the Steam Machine podcast. It's a bi-weekly PC gaming podcast. And right now, the newest episode we just released is Planet Coaster. But for the next month, we are going to be playing Final Fantasy VII. and I've never beaten Final Fantasy VII. So I will have opinions that I will be sharing on that show, and if you would like to hear them, you should go check it out. All right, that about does it for this week. I love you all. You are all absolutely wonderful people, and I want you all to get back out there and level up.